Hello and welcome to the first ever Motoring Max car review. Now, as you all know, we are going through a pandemic right now, and from here on in the video, I'm going to wear a mask. Now, this is the MU-TDI, Volkswagen's entry for the compact sedan segment. Let's talk about its design first. Up front, the only difference in the Polo and the MU is the slight crease on the bumper, which is there because the front bumpers have been shortened to keep it under 4 meters. As you can see from the side, it is the same as the Polo until the C-pillar, from where things start to change a bit. The C-pillar here is thinner to accommodate the protruding boot, and the boot from the side profile looks like it has been chopped by a meat knife. Now the rear end will generate some opinion due to the strange design of the tail lamps and a flattish finish. But it is okay, not that bad, although these lines will remind you of other Skoda cars. Let's talk about the boot space now. The boot space of the MU is rated at 330 liters. The opening is pretty wide here, and while it might not be the best in the segment, it is still more spacious than the Polo, which makes it more practical and value for money. Let's jump into the back seat now. So, this back seat is in the most comfortable place to be in. Legroom is pretty tight here, and headroom is pretty okayish too. You get your own AC vent though, along with a bottle holder, a 12-volt charging point, and a huge hump in the floor. The backrest angle is too upright, and the thigh support isn't that great either. I'm sitting in a knees up position here. It's not very comfortable for long distance journeys. It is not a very comfortable back seat at all, and I might go on to say that it is the worst in the segment. It is not good at all. Driving seat is the place to be in this car. It was the most powerful diesel car in its segment, and it can do this. Not 200 comes up in just 9.5 seconds, which made it the quickest in the segment. Apart from that, the clutch is a bit heavy to use and will be irritating in heavy traffic conditions. The steering is not as light as you would expect, but enthusiasts would love it. It's a little vague in the center position, but still it's confidence inspiring and lets you know what's happening on the road. Plus, the ride and handling balance perfectly complements it. Apart from the heavy clutch, gear shifts are crisp and smooth. The car is eager to jump into corners, and yes, the suspension might be a little stiff, but that means brilliant highway stability and cornering abilities. There is some body roll, but it is very well contained and it remains composed and calm most of the times. Considering the peppy performance, the brakes could have been better as they lag bite sometimes on the highways. NVH levels are good but not as good as Hyundai's diesel cars. It is pretty quiet on the inside. Now this is a typical German interior. Though it lacks the modern soft touch plastics, the materials used in here feel solid and built to last. Every button and knob offers a reassuring tactile feedback, and the overall fit and finish reflects quality workmanship. The steering wheel and gear knob are the most touched parts by the driver, and both of them are leather wrapped, which give it a feel good factor. Apart from the cabin quality, there are various practical features too, like the center armrest with storage, bottle holders in both the front doors, a cooled spacious front glove box, and an auto-dimming interior rearview mirror. You also get tilt and telescopic adjustments for the steering wheel and driver's seat height adjust to get into the best driving position possible. The touchscreen infotainment system with smartphone connectivity and the display for the rearview camera will keep you entertained, while the MID in the instrument cluster will provide you all the information that you need while driving. Other smart features include front fog lamps with cornering function, electrically adjustable and foldable ORVMs, remote opening and closing of the windows, rain sensing wipers, cruise control, and the reassuring door closing sound. To summarize, the Mio was not a car for everyone. The maintenance costs were higher than the competition, and with a compact cabin and poor rear seat space, it didn't appeal to the masses either. The only people who bought it were the ones who wanted to indulge in the driving experience, plus, it was marginally cheaper than the equivalent Polo GT TDI and had a bigger boot. This failure to fetch sales led to Volkswagen discontinuing the Mio a few months back. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Plus, don't forget to follow us on Instagram.